Okay, gotta admit, that was pretty damn good. I've been waiting for something like this for a long time. Finally, the Helluva Boss doesn't seem like a total cringe parade. Everything seems to be falling into place. The characters are developing, there's a dose of the comedy, and there's a dose of the plot as well. New characters that the fandom has been waiting for about 2 years. And believe me, there's not as much vulgarity as before. And Jesus crunchy Christ, why I couldn't have done something like this before? Well, never mind. What was I talking about? Oh yeah! Greetings to all my animation lovers, it's me again, D! And recently, Vivian finally pleased us with a fresh new episode of Helluva Boss. And it's funny to see that a bunch of fans are shocked by the fact that the episodes came out so quickly. So there was an episode with Kesha, and now, wow, there's a new episode in just 2 weeks. Which, how is that even possible? Is this how it always will be? Damn! Well, okay, bear with me, let's just all come down. The previous episode with the furry party and Kesha as the scene of gluttony, Beelzebub, was the finale of the first season that we waited for about a year, 7 months, and 38 days. Okay, I wasn't really counting, but 7 months for sure. And now, the 5th episode of the second season is already out. I understand that many people who don't get it will think, damn, how can they make episodes so fast? Well then, give us 1 episode every 2 weeks. Okay, I hear you. Let's just all come down and approach this situation with some humanity. Making cartoons at such a speed is physically impossible, and believe me, I know from experience. The 8th episode with Beelzebub was actually done and ready a long time ago, but due to special legal proceedings, the episode couldn't be released until recently. But let's not dwell onto the past, okay? We already discussed that. Let's move on to a new episode about a goddamn summer camps. As I expressed myself on my Twitter, the episode turned out to be very good, pretty good, and much better than the previous 2, even though it seemed like the previous episodes had more plot to it. But let's just figure out why this episode simply seems better, alright? Let's go! I want to point out that the spirit of this episode feels, well, it feels different. More classic for Helluva Boss as a series itself. While watching, I didn't feel any discomfort or confusion whatsoever about what was happening. I finally enjoyed the fact that the boss episode showed exactly what I was always expecting from this series. Not only it had fan service and comedy or inappropriate jokes, but also plot. But I think what's most importantly, I didn't feel an excess of literally everything. As if the creators found the balance in what they are showing. And of course, yes, like many times before, I criticized Helluva Boss. And I will. For various inappropriate things. I've discussed them in my videos before. But as always, I see that despite some flaws, the show can be quite good and interesting to watch. And this episode is much better for me than the previous 2 episodes of the second season. And so let's start with the fact that I was glad that the characters essentially returned to what the series originally started with. Well, like the work of our demon dorks in eliminating and dividing people by 0, who divided other people by 0 and ended up in hell. So they decide to seek revenge and hire our company and deal with their tormentors. And this is literally what the episode is about, immediately after showing Blitz searching for something in some kind of a hospital. And of course, I tried not to follow any spoilers about this project, and I was glad to be surprised by the fact that he was actually looking for his sister, Barbie Wire. She has appeared multiple times in different moments in the episodes, either on posters with Blitz or, as long as I remember, there were arts on Instagram before they became non-canon. Well, if I'm mistaken, please let me know down in the comments. As well as various flashbacks, photos, and other hints that Blitz in general seemed to have a loving mother and a good sister. But that's what makes Blitz interesting. What made him such an asshole, who he actually is, and why everyone who was dear to him actually turned away from him. And I was especially happy for Barbie Wire. The girl doesn't want anything to do with Blitz whatsoever. She was busy with her own business, distracting herself with some strange shady activities and hypnotizing kids with her butt, which I would, well, I would call vulgarity, but compared to some other vulgar moments in Helluva Boss, which are completely inappropriate, it's the most harmless, and, well, it's kinda ironic, because that's how the series attract a huge child audience. Man, you know, with all its butts and tits and cursing moves. Yeah. And in the end, God, 3 years ago, among the memes and art about Hazbin Hotel, when the pilot episode was released, I saw how children in kindergarten draw angel dust, and that's, well, it says a lot about our society, doesn't it? And considering Barbie Wire, given that she's has a really terrible argue with Blitz who wants to fix everything, she does exactly what I or any other sensible person would do in this exact situation. We'll just run away from the source of their problems and let the problem in the form of Blitz devour itself from the inside. Do I feel sorry for Blitz that his sister runs away like this from him? Yeah! And do I agree with Barbie's actions about this? Of course I do! I cannot argue with her attitude, considering what we know about Blitz as a character over the past 2 seasons. But overall, I'm actually really satisfied. This episode feels exactly how most episodes of Helluva Boss should be, even in the interactions between human characters, which I genuinely hate because of their stupidity, except for those agents. Finally, they didn't annoy me, and even if they could have been annoying in this episode, they were still children at the camp, and I can believe that that's how they behave. In the end, even some jokes turned out to be really funny and not cringe-worthy. And it didn't feel like an attempt by a clueless adults to write the cool text and scripts for children for the type of young audience they're targeting. It's like, cool guys and gals, how you do, fellow kids? And also worth mentioning that sometimes the way Beelzebub talked really bothered me. But the song was cool, although the way of her communication was, well, it was kinda so-so. It is also worth noting that in this episode there's a real sense of tension and emotional intensity. Wow, how long have I waited for something like this, for the show to evoke not only embarrassment and confusion, but I'm so happy about this. And here's a simple example of a good work. Thanks to Millie as the main killer girl who can take down the entire mafia of demons alone, they brought her into the battle on the stage with a song. So the final battle in the barn seems much more significant and emotionally charged. Sweet Mary Mother of Joseph, I finally empathize with the characters, and all of them are participating in the scene. Blitz, who was also looking for his sister this whole episode, wants to somehow fix their disagreements and doesn't want to hurt her. And Moxxie, who has been fed up with this teasing and other annoyances for this whole week and just wants to kill that guy. And God, how glad I am to see the serious Moxxie. How tired I am of them portraying him as a complete fool. Of course, it's characteristic of this character, but when he goes berserk to kill and cut, oh man, I just love it. And Barbie Wire, who doesn't let him do it and resists both of them, is beautiful and strong. And in the end, she's not even the antagonist of this situation. It's Blitz and Moxxie who bothered her. They confronted her, and she just doesn't want to talk to them, let alone consider anything else. Finally, I felt something, some tension. And it's unclear who will win or lose in this battle, because the main win factor, it is Millie, at the moment is not in the fight. It's so little, so simple, but it feels so good. Don't quote me on that, okay? Finally, the characters were doing what the show was originally intended for. Killing people in strange situations with sudden plot twists that are suddenly interesting. It was really interesting to watch Blitz search for his sister. Interest appeared on the battlefield. And this camp crap stuff is complete nonsense. Obviously, it's the worst part of this series for me. The Millie and Moxxie drama feels completely forced, like sucked out of the finger, and completely uninteresting. The dialogues with the human characters are written as if by an AI, lacking any soul. God damn it! They're trying to create some kind of a swag, but it turns out super ridiculous in general. And as always, anything related to humans in this Helluva Boss project ruins the whole picture. We'll talk another time about how humans ruin the perception of Hazbin Hotel and how humans can naturally break the lore of Helluva Boss. So let me know in the comments if you're interested. However, the humans didn't seem like a complete idiots or cringe-inducing beings. Moreover, the fact that they are children allows them to act stupid. And the joke that these are children and you shouldn't, bang them, I'm glad they pointed that out, is, well, indeed correct and reduces the level of vulgarity. And of course, considering the ending scene, this episode is much less vulgar than the previous ones and relies less on primitive ways to attract viewers with asses, butts and tits, sex and swearing. At the same time, Barbie Wire herself shows how easily it is to manipulate teenagers just by shaking her ass. But it's just her nature. After all, she's from the circle of lust. And that she has that Asmodeus crystal that allows her to glamorously travel between the worlds. And moreover, this crystal was shown in the previous season in Stolas' book. And thanks to that, watching what were hinted at earlier, and it appeared now, it is incredibly satisfying. And it seems like watching this whole project is really worth it. In other aspects, of course, there are things to criticize about this episode. And I admit it, with each episode of Helluva Boss, well, I won't hide that I like this episode much more because of Blitzo and Barbie Wire. A simpler presentation of thoughts and how it leads to a more emotional battle towards the finale. I think this episode cannot be considered a bad for sure. But anyway, it was just my opinion, which of course may differ from yours. So definitely write me a whole essay. Yeah, I'm giving you homework. What do you think about that? Yeah, tell me about it, whether you like it or dislike it, and make sure to give us lots of comments and likes and hit that subscribe button, it's very important to me. After all, we're conquering YouTube here! So, I'll see you guys in the next one!